I didn't expect to cry when I was editing a video about meatballs, but I did. Hi, I'm Beryl, and the theme for today's video is meatballs. Meet the balls. The video today is sponsored by HelloFresh. Very exciting. And the artist today is Henry Baker. I thought that his work was really beautiful, and I loved his Ghibli-inspired pieces, which is what drew me to him initially. I'm gonna leave a link in the description if you wanna check out his work. I wanna say this before we get into the video. There were so many awesome submissions for this topic, and it really made me realize how truly universal the concept of a meatball is. So there's going to be more than one episode because I kept saying yes. I have a lot of meatballs to cook, okay? I also decided that the term meatball, I was going to expand it a little bit. So it's not just a ground ball of meat. I think a lot of things could be meatballs without being meatballs, if you know what I mean. Okay, let's start cooking.
Hi Beryl, my name's Aleeza and I live in New York City. I'm half Pakistani and half Afghan, and today I really wanted to share with you one of my favorite Afghan dishes, Maushawa. Maush means mung bean, and awa roughly translates to water. It is a mung bean stew that also has kidney beans and chickpeas, but the best part are the little meatballs. Not everyone makes Maushawa with meatballs. Some people just use regular ground beef or lamb, but I love the meatballs. I think they're the best part because they cook within the stew itself, so they get to soak up all of the broth and the flavor of the spices and the beans, and so when you bite into them, they're just like little pockets of beautiful, nourishing juice. And my mom used to make this for me whenever I was sick or if it was cold and rainy out, and it just has that taste of childhood and comfort that I think everyone really loves. The meatballs, or as we call them kofta, are typically made with veal or lamb, but I really like using ground turkey. It's just a little bit healthier, and I think the meatballs are a little bit softer. And they're really small, so they're only about half an inch in diameter, but they're really just packed with flavor. And I like to eat mine with Afghan naan and really soak up all of that really delicious broth. Maushawa can be found all around Afghanistan. The version that I made for you today definitely has a lot of Pakistani influence since I grew up in a mixed household, and I really love the way that the two cultures blend together really beautifully in this dish. I've never been to Afghanistan, and I don't know if I ever will, but anytime I make Afghan food, and especially Maushawa, I'm reminded of my people and my culture in a homeland that I may never really know. Afghan cuisine sometimes can be simple, like stews and sauces and rice, but they're just so flavorful and just really nourishing, and it fills you up all the way. And I love it, and I hope you love it too.
So we're starting with the Afghani dish. I ended up making the meatballs with turkey like Aleeza recommended. And I think this might be the first time I've ever cooked Afghani cuisine. Wow. Talk about trusting the process. Halfway through cooking this, I was like, this is not right. Everything looks wrong. I thought that all of the lentils had become way too thick, but wow. This is like winter comfort food at its finest. It kind of is giving me vibes of like khichdi from India that I made in a previous episode. Meatball. The cinnamon is actually really nice with the turkey, which might be surprising. It's soft. I really appreciated Aleeza talking to us about this dish, especially with Afghanistan being in the news so much right now. I think it's easy for us to look at a country like that and kind of think about it only through the headlines that we read and not about the people or the culture that's actually being affected. Having this dish gives me an opportunity to think about a place kind of in a broader stroke than just the headlines, to think about the culture and the people who live there and like where these recipes come from. And it might seem like a small gesture to be like, oh, I'll just cook the dish from this country. But I think that it really shows a step towards the desire to understand and the desire to kind of connect with somebody else, even if you can't physically connect with them. Like, yeah, maybe it's just a stew, but it's also a lot more than that. And I think that all of us here believe in that. That dishes are more than just dishes. They're memories and their cultures and their people and their stories. And there's something really special about that. So I feel very privileged that I got to make it today with Aleeza. It's like really, really good. So I really recommend everybody try it.
Hi, my name is Steph and I live in Sydney, Australia. The meatball dish I would like to share is called 狮子的, which in English means lion head. The meatball gets its name from their full round shape, which is reminiscent of a lion's mane. Now, they are palm-sized meatballs made with pork mince, some Chinese rice wine, soy sauce, starch, egg, and a variety of other seasonings. They're shallow fried until they're a bit brown and then simmered down with bok choy and a splash more of soy sauce. And we then just serve them over some fluffy white rice. They are perfectly tender and just filled with savory, meaty juices that just warm you up from the inside. This recipe is originally from a Chinese city called Yangtze or Yangzhou, but they're extremely popular in the city of Shanghai, which is where my parents are from. Now, I grew up eating this during the colder months here in Sydney, and my favorite thing about the dish, besides the meatballs, is actually the almost soy braised bok choy. So getting a mouthful of the meatball, the bok choy, the broth, and a bit of the rice is 11 out of 10. So good. I think everyone should give this dish a try because it is simple yet so rich in flavour, and I think that it's a very authentic Chinese dish that hasn't gotten enough attention.
Oh my goodness gracious. My mom has always said to me that it's really important to use the right tools when you're cooking. I did not have the right tool to make this. I really needed a cleaver, like a heavy knife with weight in it. My arm is so tired. It took so long. Like, we got there. I broke that pork belly down, but honestly, I hope this tastes really good because I'm tired. Wow, this is so soft. Wait, I should have showed you guys, like, well, you saw it. It was worth it. Oh, wow, I feel like I'm eating at a restaurant. This might be one of the best meatballs I've ever had. Ooh, I'm not even kidding. The sauce is so good. And the bamboo shoots do have like a little bit of like crunchiness in them. I love how big the meatball is though. It's so fun. Like, it's freaking huge. That's really nice as well. This meatball is like truly one of the most flavorful balls of meat I've ever had in my life. You can taste my dedication, I swear. The recipe that I followed to make this, the link is in the description. I thought that the woman did such a fabulous job of making it feel so like approachable, even though there was a lot of work and a lot of steps to make this meatball. I just thought her video was like really fantastic, which I would recommend looking at if you have any interest in making this. You might have noticed my air fryer in this. Obviously, that's not the traditional way to make these. Traditionally, you deep fry the meatballs, but in the video, the woman did say that I could use my air fryer, and I just felt like the deep fryer needed a little break after the onions and the bitter gourd and like, I don't know, so many other recipes. I was happy to use my air fryer. Let's just say that. So my final verdict on this was like a lot of work up front, but like truly, this is a fabulous dish that I've never had anything like it, and it like feels really special. You know what I mean? Like it's really good.
Hi everyone, my name is Simon and I live in Delsbo, Sweden. The dish I'm going to tell you about is called köttbullar, or Swedish meatballs. Meatballs are quite a quintessential feature of Swedish cuisine. It is said that the recipe was brought here from the Ottoman Empire by King Charles XII, but this claim has been disputed. The first mentioning of the word köttbullar happened in 1755, but it wasn't until the introduction of the meat grinder in the 19th century that Swedes started enjoying meatballs en masse. The international breakthrough for meatballs happened at the 1939 New York World's Fair, where they were served as part of a smörgåsbord, or a type of Swedish buffet. And I guess the rise of IKEA has certainly helped a lot to increase the popularity of the meatball. Swedish meatballs are typically smaller in size than Italian meatballs. The base is usually beef or a mixture of beef and pork, but other meats such as veal and moose can be used as well. Egg and breadcrumbs are used as the binding agent, and to season we usually put in onion, allspice and nutmeg. Once fried in butter, the meatballs are typically plated up next to some boiled potatoes and eaten alongside a gravy made from the pan drippings, as well as lingonberry jam and pickled cucumbers. The meatballs are succulent and tender, and all the different flavors and textures complement each other beautifully. It brings me back to my childhood when they were my favorite food, and I hope you're going to enjoy them just as much as I did. Have a nice meal, or as we say in Swedish, smaklig måltid.
This is my first time making Swedish meatballs, and if I'm gonna be honest, the only time I've ever had them was at IKEA. I'm putting them in some lingonberry jam. Oh my god. Wow, this meatball is like a pillow. It's so soft. The meat blend was pork, veal, and beef. This is really good. The cream sauce is really good. Sometimes when I do episodes like this, I don't want to do the obvious choices. Like, I've never done poutine for my 2 French fry episodes. However, I really wanted to do Swedish meatballs because I thought they have such an interesting history, and they just seemed like, I don't know, it just seemed like it would be fun to cook, and they were. I'm gonna do a complete bite, so we're gonna do potato, the jam, and the meatball. I know that there are different ways to have Swedish meatballs. You can have them more dry or with that creamy sauce. I mean, the creamy sauce, like, I decided to go with that because, yum. The recipe I followed was definitely really easy. All of the recipes are always in the description if you want to try. This was really good. I'm so glad I made it. So here we are with the HelloFresh sponsorship. I'm going to be making the zucchini and feta fritter pockets. I'm gonna actually make these more meatballish because the theme is meatballs, and I feel like a fritter and a meatball, it's just about how wide it is, right? It's kind of similar. I liked this dish because it's really fast to make, and HelloFresh actually has a lot of quick meal options that take only around 20 minutes or that are already oven ready, and that's something that's kind of nice. Like, you don't always want to be spending a ton of time in the kitchen, or at least I don't. And it's nice that HelloFresh has so many different recipes to choose from, and every week it really changes so that you can get out of a cooking rut, which all of us get into. But honestly, the biggest thing for me is that it takes a lot of stress out of cooking. Like, they make it so you can't fail, and there's something really nice about that. All of the ingredients are pre-portioned, so there's less waste, and that is super important to me. My neighbor has definitely been getting a lot of leftovers lately, but in general, food waste is something that we should all be conscious about. So with that, my zucchini fritters / meatballs are done, and they actually look really nice. And I love how this is such an easy vegetarian option that isn't, boring. It looks awesome. Okay, I have my zucchini fritter / meatball. I love a pita pocket sandwich, always my favorite. I was really surprised how this turned out in the air fryer. It like puffed up and got like fluffy almost. I don't know, it's cool. I think one of my favorite things about meals like this is how you don't need to spend a lot of time to make something that's really delicious. And I think that like in general, that's kind of how we think about things. Like really delicious things take a long time, but that's just not always the case. If you're interested in signing up, go to HelloFresh.com, use my code Beryl14 to get 14 free meals, including free shipping. Okay, let's make some more meatballs.
Hi everyone, I'm Hitesh. I'm from Tamil Nadu, India. The dish I want to share is called Gobi Manchurian. This dish is a part of Indo-Chinese cuisine in India. This cuisine originated from the Chinese restaurants of Kolkata, which combine Indian flavors and ingredients with Chinese style of cooking. A Manchurian can be made with chicken, cauliflower, paneer, mushrooms, baby corn or cabbage coated with a flour mix and deep fried. It is then sauteed in a sauce with garlic, ginger, onion, peppers and topped with spring onions. It can be dry, semi-dry or with gravy. It is sweet, sour and spicy. You can also get the flavors of garlic and ginger and the spiciness from the chilies. It is crunchy on the outside and soft on the inside. Chicken Manchurian is said to be invented in 1975 by Nelson Wang, a cook at the Cricket Club of India in Mumbai, when a customer asked him to create a new dish different from what was available on the menu. It is now found all over India. This fusion is not known to many people outside of India, and it is a dish that I grew up eating. The flavors are just amazing. Your mouth will be tingling from the spice and zingy with the freshness. A fond memory is when my friends and I would eat Manchurian after school in a small shop at least twice a week. I feel you need to eat this with a bunch of friends. This dish is very well balanced and full of flavor. I recommend you to try this dish.
Okay, so this is Gobi Manchurian, and one thing I want to say is that Indo-Chinese food is one of the best cuisines ever. It's India's interpretation of Chinese food, and it is freaking amazing. I've had Manchurian before. I've never made the gobi into like a meatball per se. I've always done it with a blend of different vegetables. So this is my first time having it just like this. Oh my gosh, it's so good. Ooh, it's spicy. Hello. Whoa. I feel like just recently I was saying, is my spice tolerance doing better, but am I getting better at eating spicy food, or is this just like not as spicy as I thought it would be? Let's just all agree that I'm getting better at eating spicy food. I think that's the way to do it. When I told my mother-in-law that I was making these, she asked if I was doing it in oil or in the oven, and I hadn't even thought about using my air fryer, so I tried it both ways, in the oil and in my air fryer / oven, and the air fryer was just so much more successful. I will say that like they deflated a little bit, like they're not perfect circles anymore, but I mean, I don't know. I'm not about aesthetics in that sense, so I'm okay. I like having these as an appetizer. When we go back to India, we'll get a plate of like veg Manchurian and have little toothpicks and just like, I'll eat like 10. They're so good. I think that this is a recipe that's really easy to replicate and is like totally delicious, and it'll be so different than anything you have ever had. And that's pretty exciting. I don't know why it's so spicy. Maybe it was all the chili paste I put in there. If you go to an Indian restaurant and you see something like chili paneer, veg Manchurian, gobi Manchurian, these are all kind of Indo-Chinese dishes, and I really highly recommend you try them. Okay, I'm gonna have one more. Bridget's gonna want these. They're his favorite.
Hi, my name is Sarai. I am originally from Mexico, but I live in California. The dish that I'm going to be presenting and talking about today is Caldo de Albóndigas, which translates to meatball soup. Firstly, I want to just say that everyone makes this dish differently, but essentially it is a mixture of meat and white rice formed into like golf-sized balls and cooked in a broth. We use beef and white rice. And also in my household, we usually use yerbabuena and tomatillos. It's something very important. You have to add it. If you don't add it, you're gonna make mom and grandma very sad. It tastes warm and comforting. It's fresh because of the herbs. It has all the spices and it has the heat and the kick from the canned chipotles. When I taste it, it's like a nice warm hug from my grandmother on my taste buds. What makes this dish special is normally it's passed down from grandmothers and mothers and generations. So this dish was passed down from my grandmother to my mom, and she taught me how to make it. My grandmother, unfortunately, she passed a couple of years ago, but whenever I make it, I just feel closer to her, and I feel like that's also why a lot of us make dishes and we feel like they're special. We feel like we can connect with family that's far away or that we don't have them with us anymore. In these hard times, sometimes all we need in the days that feel really cold, even if the sun is out, we just sometimes need a nice warm dish that feels like a hug. Now more than ever, we should try to connect with one another. I feel like we're all intertwined, and we can connect with food, art, and music. So I really hope everyone that tries this and makes this can feel the nice warm hug from me and my family.
Okay, so we may have had a small cooking accident in that video. Today is the next day because my finger was really hurting when I cut it cooking. I'm gonna go to a knife class, okay? I hear y'all. I'm going. To be honest, it's not my first rodeo, but it is the first time I've done it on camera, and that was upsetting. But the soup smells amazing. Hot. That meatball is a dang good meatball. I don't cook that much with tomatillos, so using them in something that wasn't a salsa was definitely interesting. The rice inside the meatball makes the meatball like very robust in a really nice way. It's super comforting. Man, this soup is like, it does feel like a hug. I love this. Especially after such a traumatic moment. This soup is actually making me feel good. I felt like what Sarai said at the end of the video. It just made me feel, I don't know, made me feel really nice. And I didn't expect to cry when I was editing a video about meatballs, but I did. I feel like these dishes that connect us to our families and to our cultures, they have so much meaning, and by sharing them with others, it's a way to like share a part of you, and I love it. I love that the simple act of cooking something can connect you so deeply to somebody else. I think it's just so awesome. Come here, avocado. I love you. I do want to say though, my finger is okay. I don't even have the bandage on it right now. Yuck. Like I said in the beginning of the video, if you did not see the meatball of your dreams here, there is going to be another meatball episode, but I am still open to shifting things around. So let me know in the comments what meatballs you really want to see in the second episode, and I will try to make sure that they are there. A big thank you to the sponsor. Sponsors like HelloFresh allow me to hire amazing videographers around the world to tell bigger stories, which is what I really want to do, and we're getting there, slowly but surely. So with that, I hope that you all like this episode, and I will see you next week.